Yari.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, I am rising to present a petition on behalf of 472 Katherine residents in my electorate in response to the slow and inconsistent action residents have received after they found out 16 months ago that large tracts of the town, its aquifers, groundwater and river were contaminated by PFAS and PFAS chemicals found in firefighting foam used at RAF Base Tindal. The PFAS issue in Katherine has been, for the community, a ticking time bomb. It has taken over a year of lobbying government for the affected residents to finally get some traction in joining other jurisdictions in a consistent, coordinated policy approach from the Commonwealth. Many residents currently living on contaminated blocks in the area affected by these chemicals are in limbo, having saved for their dream lifestyle block that supports fruit and vegetables and carries livestock, and are now being told not to eat anything they grow on their blocks. These are people who are hoping to retire or move on, who will now be unable to sell their biggest and, for most, their only asset. No one is going to buy a contaminated block at a reasonable price for the vendor, even if the banks are willing to lend. And getting a bank loan in Katherine currently has become harder even in non-affected areas. And I know of one particular instance where a resident wanting to upgrade an existing residence was refused a loan based on the impact of PFAS on the community. There is anxiety as residents still wait for blood bore and town water testing that will ultimately show what levels of PFAS they have themselves ingested and have been open to. Residents are still waiting for adequate mental health service to be rolled out, with very little communication, Mr Deputy Speaker, from the local primary health network. Mr Deputy Speaker, special care needs to be taken to educate vulnerable Aboriginal communities along the river where contaminated fish have been found, as well as educating visitors to the region. The community of Katherine calls for transparency, Mr Deputy Speaker, clear information and ongoing, well-coordinated support from government. The final paragraph of their petition says, we therefore ask the House to ensure that the residents of Katherine receive the same level of support and assistance that is available to people in other jurisdictions dealing with the presence of PFAS.
The document will be forwarded to the Petitions Committee for its consideration and will be accepted subject to the confirmation by the committee that it confirms to standing.